Hi, this video is just going to show you how to color the background in a couple of different ways. The first way is you can go online and insert, on page layout, and there's an icon there called background. So click on background, and you may have a couple of options there. You can work offline, or you can work online if you have you have internet connected. I don't have it on at the moment, so I'm working offline. Here are the background images. I've got a number of sort of background images I've just downloaded off the internet. Let's just pick on these palm trees here as a background. So if you click on that, you insert the palm trees, and that puts it in on the background like that. So that's it's as simple as doing that. Now, if you find that you don't want to put an image or a picture on the background, that's fine. You can delete that now. Just delete the background, and now it's gone. Now, make sure when you're setting up your file for the first time that on view, just make sure that these three boxes are ticked. Grid lines, which shows all the light grid lines around each of the cells. You've got your headings, which are the column letters, and then your row numbers, and then your formula bar, which is this section here. It's a formula bar, but part of that as well is the name box. And whatever cell you're in will be the reference in the name box. That automatically changes. So I'm in column C, row 5 as an intersection. That becomes the active cell, and the active cell is listed here in the name box. It's listed as C5. And you can then type in that name box, or in the cell. Let's just put in name, and that will then show in the formula bar with whatever you've typed in the cell will show in the formula bar. If you click away from that active cell into another active cell, then it's showing there's nothing in that cell. So now to cover a heading, you can then go back to home and put in a fill color as a drop-down list. Hopefully this time you can see this tablet of colors, and we'll go for a dark blue, but then obviously the name or the letters that I've printed in there are not visible now. So that's simply fixed by clicking on the font color, and the font color in this case we'll choose white. I'll make the cell wider, and I'll make it deeper there. So the cell now is 11 Calibri 11, so I'll just make that 14 as a heading. I'll make it bold, and these options here will place the name or the wording, whatever you have in that cell, in a certain location. These top three is either having it at the bottom of the cell, or in the middle of the cell, or the top of the cell. It's probably better to have it in the middle of the cell, and these three here will either align to the left, align in the middle of the cell, or align to the right-hand side. So I would suggest probably middle for both those. And the other thing I want to show you too is the total background color. You can actually choose by going into this top left-hand corner, just to the left of the A and just above the 1. If you left button on that area, it highlights the whole sheet. That's 16,000 columns and over 1 million rows are all highlighted. So that means there's over 16 million cells have now been highlighted just by clicking in this corner. Then you can sort of choose a fill color, and I'd suggest as a background color, choose the lightest of this range, and my preference is blue, so I'll go for the lightest blue. And then every cell on that sheet now has a background color of light blue. And because I changed the font to white, now it's not standing out. So then if we can go back to that cell and make that a dark blue, and that looks a lot better. Then the area below that we can then highlight and maybe shade that in a white so it makes it stand out. We can actually put a border around that. So if you have your white cross within that highlighted zone, you can right click, go down to Format Cells, and Borders would have an outline of a dark outline, a thick line. Here's an outline, and maybe a dotted line here is the intermediate lines. And click OK, and that lines it up quite nicely with the dots and the solid outside line. If I click on the away from that, you can see that clearly. And the other thing I want to show you, as per the other video, is just writing in JAN as the first month of the year. You can then, if you go to the bottom right hand corner, the cursor will change. If you go to the outside edge of the active cell, you see you have a four-headed arrow. The four-headed arrow is for dragging it elsewhere. So if I left button, drag it somewhere else, it'll move it wherever I left the finger off. If I drag it back up here, it'll just move, whoops, there it is. And so as long as I'm within that active cell and I have the four-headed arrow, I hold my left button down, I can move that to wherever I like. I'll put it back where I started. The other thing is in the bottom right-hand corner, if you hover there in that bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice the cursor changes to a black cross. When you've got the black cross, hold your left button down and slide across. And I'll go across 12 columns. And that automatically puts in each of the months without having to type them in. Then what we can do is change the font on that to a 14, and we'll make it a bold, and we'll make fill the cells in with a dark blue, or change the font to a white, and we'll position those in the middle of the cell and in the center of the cell. And click away, and there it is. It's already set up. As quick as that, you can actually set up your spreadsheet and it looks very professional if you put a little bit of time in there. Okay, well, I hope this helps. And until next time, stay safe.